Wealth always begins internally before it ever appears externally. Long before money shows up in your bank account, it first shows up as a belief, a decision, and a way of interpreting the world. People who struggle financially often think the problem is lack of opportunity, lack of education, or lack of resources, but the real limitation is usually a pattern of thinking. Thoughts shape actions, actions shape habits, and habits shape results. When thinking remains small, cautious, and reactive, results will reflect that limitation. Expanding your financial reality requires expanding your mental framework around possibility, value, and responsibility. Most people are unconsciously programmed to think about money emotionally rather than strategically. They react to fear, scarcity, and comparison instead of logic and long-term vision. This leads to decisions based on comfort rather than growth. Wealthy thinkers understand that emotions are unreliable decision makers when it comes to money. They focus on principles instead of feelings. They understand that money is a neutral tool that responds to structure, strategy, and clarity. By learning to separate emotion from financial decisions, they gain control over outcomes that once felt unpredictable or out of reach. Another critical shift in thinking is understanding that money is not a reward for effort alone. Many people work hard their entire lives and never achieve financial freedom because effort without direction produces exhaustion, not wealth. Wealthy thinking recognizes that money flows toward value, not struggle. It asks different questions, such as how problems are identified, how solutions are packaged, and how results are delivered. When thinking evolves from survival to strategy, effort becomes aligned with outcomes and income becomes intentional rather than accidental. Scarcity thinking keeps people focused on what they lack instead of what they can create. This mindset causes hesitation, overanalysis, and fear of risk. Abundance thinking, on the other hand, is not blind optimism but disciplined confidence. It recognizes that ideas, opportunities, and solutions are renewable resources. Those who think abundantly are willing to invest time, money, and energy into growth because they trust their ability to adapt. This mindset allows them to move forward even when conditions are uncertain. Knowing clarity is created through action, wealth-oriented thinking also involves understanding time differently. Instead of seeing time as something to sell, it is viewed as something to invest. Every hour is evaluated based on return, not activity. This changes how learning, relationships, and work are approached. Time spent gaining skills, building systems, or increasing knowledge is seen as compounding rather than wasted. When time is treated as an asset instead of a cost, decisions become more strategic, and long-term thinking replaces short-term gratification. Another mental shift involves identity. People often act in alignment with who they believe they are, not who they want to become. If someone identifies as struggling, unlucky, or average, their behavior will subconsciously reinforce that identity. Wealth thinking requires redefining self-perception. It involves seeing oneself as a problem solver, a value creator, and a decision maker. Once identity changes, behavior naturally follows. This shift allows individuals to step into opportunities they would have previously avoided or dismissed. Financial outcomes are also deeply influenced by how people interpret failure. Many see failure as evidence they are incapable or unqualified. Wealth-oriented thinkers see failure as feedback. They analyze results, extract lessons, and adjust strategy. This perspective removes fear from the process of growth. When failure loses its emotional charge, experimentation increases. Increased experimentation leads to faster learning, better decisions, and improved outcomes over time. This creates momentum that compounds mentally before it ever compounds financially. Thinking patterns are reinforced by environment. Conversations, media, and social circles all influence perception of what is possible. Those who prioritize wealth thinking intentionally expose themselves to ideas that stretch their perspective. They listen to different conversations, study successful models, and seek mentors who challenge their assumptions. This exposure reshapes internal dialogue. Over time, what once felt unrealistic becomes normal. This mental normalization of success is a powerful driver of financial growth. Wealth thinking also emphasizes delayed gratification. Instead of prioritizing immediate pleasure, decisions are filtered through long-term impact. This does not mean deprivation, but intentionality. Resources are allocated toward growth instead of image. Knowledge is valued over comfort. Progress is valued over approval. This mindset allows individuals to endure temporary discomfort because they are focused on permanent results. The ability to delay gratification strengthens discipline, which directly affects financial outcomes. Ultimately, wealth is the byproduct of aligned thinking, consistent decision-making, and disciplined execution. Money simply follows the direction of the mind. When thinking evolves from reactive to proactive, from emotional to strategic, and from limited to expansive, results must change. Financial growth becomes predictable rather than mysterious. The transformation does not begin with external circumstances changing, but with internal perspective shifting. As thinking improves, choices improve. As choices improve, outcomes improve. Most people are taught to measure income by hours worked rather than value delivered, which silently limits their earning potential. When time becomes the unit of exchange, income is capped by energy, availability, and physical presence. No matter how skilled someone becomes, there are still only 24 hours in a day. Value-based thinkers recognize this constraint early and choose a different equation. They understand that income grows in direct proportion to the size of problems solved and the significance of results produced. Shifting focus from time to value immediately expands what is financially possible for ambitious individuals today. Time-based income rewards presence rather than performance, which explains why many hardworking people remain financially stagnant. Showing up longer does not automatically increase worth in the marketplace. Value-based income, however, rewards outcomes, transformation, and impact. When compensation is tied to results, creativity and strategy become more important than effort alone. This shift forces individuals to sharpen skills, clarify messaging, and deeply understand the needs of others. The marketplace responds generously to those who can clearly articulate and deliver meaningful solutions that produce measurable change across industries, economies, cultures, and evolving markets worldwide today without geographic or temporal limits. Getting paid for value requires redefining what work actually means. Work is no longer about tasks completed, but about problems eliminated. The greater the pain removed or desire fulfilled, the higher the value perceived. This perspective encourages people to study psychology, communication, and positioning rather than only technical execution. Understanding why people buy becomes as important as knowing how to deliver. When individuals align their efforts with outcomes people genuinely care about, pricing becomes logical instead of emotional, and income potential expands naturally beyond traditional employment structures and outdated compensation models used today by most conventional organizations globally and locally. Value-based earners focus on leverage because leverage multiplies results without multiplying labor. One well-designed solution can serve thousands, while time-based work serves one moment at a time. This understanding shifts attention towards systems, frameworks, and intellectual property. Teaching, licensing, consulting, and digital products are examples of value delivery models that break time constraints. When value is packaged effectively, income is no longer dependent on constant effort, but on clarity, relevance, and reach within the marketplace, allowing scalability, freedom, predictability, sustainability, and long-term growth for creators across multiple industries worldwide today, without physical presence requirements or burnout. Pricing based on value also requires confidence and clarity in self-perception. Many people undercharge because they secretly believe their contribution is ordinary. When value is misunderstood internally, it is communicated weakly externally. Value thinkers invest time developing expertise and then position that expertise with certainty. They do not apologize for prices because prices reflect outcomes. When belief in value increases, conversations shift from justification to explanation, creating trust and authority that supports higher compensation naturally in competitive environments where differentiation and credibility determine purchasing decisions for sophisticated buyers seeking measurable results rather than promises or effort alone today globally. Value-based income rewards thinking, planning, and positioning more than raw execution. It encourages individuals to step back and design outcomes before taking action. This approach prioritizes effectiveness over busyness. Instead of asking how long something will take, value thinkers ask how important the result is. This reframing allows income to increase without proportional workload increases. Strategic thinking becomes a profit multiplier, turning insight into income through intentional design rather than continuous motion, which reduces burnout, improves focus, enhances creativity, and increases long-term sustainability for professionals, entrepreneurs, leaders, and consultants worldwide. Operating in competitive modern economies today and beyond, value-driven compensation aligns incentives between provider and client. Both parties focus on results instead of activity. This alignment creates stronger relationships and clearer expectations. When success is defined up front, trust increases and conflict decreases. Providers become invested in outcomes, not hours. Clients feel confident paying premiums because they are paying for transformation. This mutual clarity improves satisfaction on both sides and elevates professional standards across industries by encouraging accountability, transparency, measurable benchmarks, and shared definitions of success within consulting, coaching, creative, technical, and service-based markets that value results over activity in modern global economies today, worldwide, rapidly evolving. Transitioning from time to value often feels uncomfortable because it challenges deeply ingrained beliefs. Many equate busyness with worth and struggle to detach identity from effort. Value thinking requires trusting strategy over sweat. It demands patience during design phases and courage during pricing conversations. This discomfort is temporary, but the growth is permanent. Those who persist through the mental shift GA. In freedom, scalability, and control that time-based models can never provide, once adopted, internalized practice consistently across diverse professional contexts, requiring discipline, resilience, confidence, and long-term vision to fully integrate successfully into daily decision-making processes without compromise. Value-based thinking also changes how learning is approached. Skills are acquired not for credentials, but for application and monetization. Learning becomes intentional and outcome-driven. People study what increases effectiveness, influence, and results. This focus eliminates wasted effort and accelerates progress. When learning is tied directly to value creation, growth becomes faster and more profitable. Knowledge turns into leverage instead of unused information stored without purpose, allowing individuals to convert insights into income-producing capabilities that compound over time across careers, industries, and economic cycles without dependency on formal structures or traditional employment limitations imposed externally by systems globally. Getting paid for value places control back into the hands of the individual. Income becomes a reflection of thought quality rather than time sacrifice. This empowers people to design lives aligned with purpose instead of schedules. Value-driven income supports flexibility, creativity, and impact. When compensation reflects contribution, work becomes meaningful and sustainable. This model transforms careers, businesses, and lives by rewarding insight, innovation, and results over mere presence, encouraging higher standards, autonomy, responsibility, and intentional growth for those willing to think strategically and act deliberately in evolving competitive global marketplaces, where value creation determines income consistently over time. Leverage is the ability to produce greater results without proportionally increasing effort. Most people believe growth only comes from doing more, working longer, and pushing harder. This belief keeps them trapped in linear progress. Leverage thinkers understand that effort alone does not create scale, structure does. They look for ways to multiply output using tools, systems, and strategy. Instead of asking how to work harder, they ask how to work smarter. This shift changes everything. When leverage is applied correctly, the same effort can produce 10 times the results, making growth efficient rather than exhausting. One form of leverage is intellectual leverage, which comes from ideas and insight. A single powerful idea can outperform years of physical labor. When knowledge is organized and applied strategically, it becomes reusable. Teaching, frameworks, and methodologies allow one person's thinking to impact many people simultaneously. This is why thinkers, strategists, and designers often outpace doers financially. Ideas do not get tired, require rest, or demand overtime. Once created, they can be distributed repeatedly. Intellectual leverage turns learning into an asset that compounds over time, increasing influence and income without requiring constant physical involvement. Another form of leverage is systems leverage. Systems replace memory, reduce decision fatigue, and create consistency. When actions are systemized, results become predictable. Instead of relying on motivation or discipline, systems ensure progress regardless of mood or circumstances. Businesses scale not because people work harder, but because processes work better. Systems allow delegation, automation, and replication. This frees time and mental energy for higher level thinking. Without systems, growth collapses under complexity. With systems, growth becomes manageable. Leveraged systems transform chaos into order and effort into efficiency across operations, communicate, delivery, and execution in any scalable endeavor. People leverage is another critical multiplier. Attempting to do everything alone is one of the biggest limits to growth. Leverage thinkers understand that collaboration expands capacity. By aligning with others who have complementary skills, results increase without increasing personal workload. Leadership becomes more valuable than labor. The ability to recruit, train, and empower others allows one vision to be executed at a larger scale. People leverage requires trust, communication, and clarity. When applied effectively, it transforms individual effort into collective momentum, making large outcomes possible through shared purpose and aligned incentives rather than isolated struggle and burnout. Technology leverage has reshaped what scale means in the modern world. Digital tools allow one action to reach millions instantly. Automation handles repetitive tasks, freeing humans for creative and strategic work. Software does not sleep, complain, or slow down. Once set up, it performs consistently. Technology allows small teams to outperform large organizations. Those who understand how to use platforms, data, and tools gain disproportionate advantage. Technology leverage rewards learning and adaptation. When embraced intentionally, it removes geographic and time barriers, enabling global reach from minimal infrastructure with unprecedented efficiency and speed. Financial leverage is often misunderstood but powerful when used responsibly. It involves using resources strategically to amplify returns. This could include reinvesting profits, using capital to acquire assets, or funding growth opportunities. Financial leverage is not about reckless risk, but calculated expansion. When aligned with strong systems and proven value, it accelerates progress. Those who avoid all risk often remain stagnant. Leverage thinker. Study numbers, understand ratios, and make decisions based on long-term impact. Money becomes a tool for growth rather than a symbol of security or fear. Leverage also applies to decision-making. High leverage decisions create outsized impact. Instead of making many small choices daily, leverage thinkers focus on fewer, more important decisions. Choosing the right market, offer, or strategy can outperform years of minor optimizations. This requires clarity and patience. Noise is filtered out to preserve focus. High leverage decisions often feel uncomfortable because they carry weight. However, once made, they simplify everything else. Direction eliminates distraction. A single clear decision can redirect an entire trajectory toward exponential growth. Many people resist leverage because it requires upfront thinking and delayed results. Doing feels productive immediately, while designing leverage feels slow at first. This impatience keeps people stuck in manual effort. Leverage thinkers are willing to pause execution to improve structure. They invest time in planning, learning, and building foundations. This short-term delay creates long-term acceleration. Once leverage is in place, progress speeds up dramatically. What once took months happens in days. What required constant effort begins to run independently through systems and processes that support sustained growth. Leverage shifts the relationship with time. Instead of being consumed by daily tasks, time is allocated toward activities that multiply future results. This creates freedom. When leverage increases, time pressure decreases. More space is created for creativity, rest, and strategic thinking. This balance improves performance rather than reducing it. Leverage thinkers do not glorify busyness. They prioritize effectiveness. They measure progress by outcomes, not activity. Time becomes a strategic assay rather than a constraint, allowing intentional living alongside scalable success without sacrificing health, relationships, or clarity. Leverage is about respect for energy, time, and potential. It recognizes that growth should not require constant sacrifice. By applying leverage intentionally, individuals move from survival to sustainability, from effort to impact. Leverage transforms ambition into architecture. It allows big visions to become practical realities. When leverage is ignored, growth remains limited and exhausting. When leverage is embraced, progress becomes exponential. Results increase while effort stabilizes. This is how scale is achieved intelligently, consistently, and sustainably in environments where competition is high and efficiency determines long-term success. Confidence and clarity and self-perception are critical factors in achieving financial success. Most people undervalue themselves because they compare their abilities to others or focus on what they lack. This underestimation translates into weaker offers, lower prices, and limited opportunities. Confidence is not arrogance. It is an accurate understanding of the value one can deliver. Clarity comes from recognizing strengths, studying markets, and defining outcomes clearly. When combined, confidence and clarity allow individuals to communicate value with authority. People are willing to pay premium prices when they trust that the provider can deliver results beyond expectation consistently. Many people undervalue themselves because they equate pricing with worth. Low prices often reflect internal doubt rather than market reality. Those who consistently sell at a discount reinforce limiting beliefs about their capabilities. Value-based thinkers break this cycle by aligning pricing with outcomes, not effort. They understand that income is a reflection of perceived impact, not hours spent. This requires introspection, market research, and experimentation. Confidence grows through repeated action and validation. When one internalizes their value, pricing conversations shift from negotiation to explanation. This alignment of self-perception and marketplace positioning becomes a key driver of sustainable financial growth. Confidence also enables risk-taking, which is necessary for significant income growth. Many people avoid opportunities because fear of rejection, failure, or criticism dominates decision-making. Value-oriented thinkers view risk as a calculated choice rather than a threat. They gather information, weigh potential rewards, and act decisively. This willingness to step forward while others hesitate separates high earners from average performers. Confidence in ability allows individuals to execute bold strategies that others would avoid. Clarity about value reduces hesitation because the outcome is measurable. When fear diminishes, decisions become faster, action becomes consistent, and opportunities that once seemed impossible suddenly become accessible. Communicating value effectively is a direct result of confidence and clarity. People will not pay for what they do not understand or perceive as important. Value thinkers craft their message strategically, highlighting outcomes and benefits rather than features or effort. Clear messaging reduces objections and builds trust. Confidence in delivery reinforces credibility and authority, increasing perceived value. Effective communication aligns expectations and ensures that buyers feel justified and secure in their investment. Without clarity and self-assuredness, even the best solutions may be overlooked. Those who master both internal belief and external messaging consistently outperform competitors who rely solely on effort or charm. Confidence supports negotiation and boundary set. High-value providers are willing to say no to opportunities that do not align with their goals or value. Many people accept any opportunity out of fear of missing out, undervaluing their own time and skill. Confident individuals understand that scarcity is irrelevant when value is real. Saying no selectively increases focus and preserves energy for higher impact opportunities. Boundaries also reinforce credibility. Clients respect professionals who understand the worth of their expertise. Clarity about value allows providers to set expectations, pricing, and deliverables transparently. Negotiations shift from price haggling to value discussion, benefiting both parties. Clarity also shapes strategic action. People often drift without defined outcomes, executing tasks that feel urgent but are not impactful. Confidence grounded in clear objectives provides direction. Decisions become easier because they are measured against purpose rather than emotion. This clarity encourages prioritization of high leverage activities. Actions become intentional rather than reactive. Over time, strategic focus compounds results because efforts consistently address meaningful problems. Confidence ensures that decisions are executed without doubt, while clarity ensures that decisions are aligned with goals. Together, they create momentum that magnifies income, influence, and impact over time in ways that reactive or unfocused approaches cannot replicate. Confidence reinforces resilience in the face of challenges. Even the best strategies encounter resistance, setbacks, and delays. Those with strong self-belief approach obstacles as temporary solvable issues rather than insurmountable barriers. Clarity about value and goals allows them to maintain perspective and adapt rather than abandon effort. Resilience reduces wasted time and emotional drain, keeping focus on long-term results. People who lack confidence often internalize setbacks as proof of inadequacy, whereas confident thinkers treat them as feedback. This mental toughness is essential for high-value work because meaningful outcomes are rarely delivered without persistence, adjustment, and repeated effort over time. Confidence and clarity enhance learning efficiency. When individuals are clear about their goals and the value they aim to deliver, they focus on acquiring skills that directly increase impact. Confidence reduces hesitation in applying new knowledge because fear of failure is minimized. This combination accelerates personal growth and ensures learning translates into tangible results. Unlike general knowledge accumulation, focused skill acquisition creates compounding value that can be monetized or leveraged across multiple opportunities. This approach prevents wasted effort and enhances the return on investment for time, energy, and capital in ways that uncertain or scattered learners rarely achieve. Self-perception also shapes relationships and influence. Confident individuals attract opportunities, partners, and clients because they radiate authority and trustworthiness. Clarity about value makes communication persuasive and expectations clear. Others are drawn to those who demonstrate consistent capability and strategic insight. Influence multiplies when people respect both competence and decisiveness. Relationships built on trust and perceived value generate repeat business, referrals, and partnerships, further expanding income potential. By cultivating internal confidence and external clarity, individuals create networks that accelerate growth and amplify results, turning personal reputation into leverage that directly impacts financial and professional outcomes in scalable ways. Confidence and clarity feed decision-making under uncertainty. High-value opportunities, F10 involve incomplete information or risk, and hesitation can result in lost potential. Those grounded in self-belief and a clear understanding of their value navigate ambiguity with decisiveness. Confidence prevents paralysis, while clarity ensures decisions are purposeful and aligned with long-term objectives. This combination allows individuals to act faster than competitors, capture opportunities early, and execute strategies effectively. Decision-making becomes a skill strengthened by practice and reflection rather than fear. Over time, the compounding effect of confident, clear choices accelerates financial growth and professional impact in ways that reactive thinking cannot. Delayed gratification is one of the most powerful principles for building long-term wealth. Many people prioritize immediate pleasure over future reward, buying comfort instead of investing in growth. This habit keeps them trapped in cycles of consumption rather than creation. Those who master delayed gratification understand that temporary sacrifice leads to permanent gain. They resist the lure of instant reward to allocate resources, time, money, and energy toward high-leverage activities. They invest in knowledge, assets, and opportunities that multiply over time. This mindset shifts focus from what feels good now to what will create exponential value in the future. Practicing delayed gratification requires discipline and a clear vision of long-term objectives. Without defined goals, it is easy to justify short-term indulgence. Wealth-focused thinkers establish measurable targets and evaluate every decision against those objectives. Every dollar, hour, and effort is filtered through the lens of impact and return on investment. This disciplined approach allows them to prioritize activities that compound over time rather than those that produce fleeting satisfaction. Over time, these small sacrifices accumulate, creating a foundation of assets, skills, and relationships that sustain growth and open opportunities others miss because they chase instant gratification. Delayed gratification also builds patience, which is essential for complex ventures and financial growth. Most people give up too soon because results are not immediate. Wealth creators understand that meaningful outcomes require time and consistent effort. They endure short-term discomfort while systems, investments, and strategies mature. This patience prevents impulsive decisions that reduce long-term potential. Instead of reacting to temporary trends, delayed gratification allows individuals to remain focused on sustainable growth. They develop the ability to wait strategically, knowing that compounding results amplify their effort and sacrifice far beyond what quick wins could ever deliver. Savings and reinvestment are practical applications of delayed gratification. Instead of spending all earnings on consumption, wealth-oriented individuals allocate resources toward assets, businesses, or investments that generate additional income. They treat money as a tool to create more money rather than a reward to be immediately enjoyed. This principle extends to reinvesting profits to fuel growth rather than extracting income prematurely. By delaying personal gratification and prioritizing asset accumulation, they leverage financial discipline to build a self-sustaining system. This creates independence, resilience, and long-term wealth that grows faster than spending-focused strategies can achieve. Education and skill development are another area where delayed gratification plays a critical role. Acquiring valuable expertise often requires years of study, practice, and application before it pays off financially. Those committed to long-term success prioritize learning even when it is inconvenient or uncomfortable. They understand that knowledge compounds over time, creating advantages that cannot be replicated by those seeking immediate results. By resisting distractions and focusing on skill building, they position themselves to command higher value, influence, and income in the future. Immediate discomfort becomes the price for sustained financial and professional freedom. Delayed gratification enhances strategic decision-making. Impulsive actions often lead to wasted resources, missed opportunities, and suboptimal results. By training themselves to think long-term, individuals are better equipped to analyze outcomes, risks, and alignment with larger goals. Every action is evaluated through the lens of long-term benefit rather than short-term convenience. This approach increases clarity, reduces regret, and strengthens consistency. Decisions made with patience and foresight compound over time, creating exponential benefits. Those who master delayed gratification develop a framework for weighing short-term desires against future rewards, resulting in more intentional, impactful choices across all areas of life. Relationships and networking also benefit from a delayed gratification mindset. Building trust, credibility, and influence takes time and consistent effort. Many people expect instant recognition or rewards in social and professional contexts, but lasting relationships are cultivated gradually. Those who focus on long-term value in their interactions create reputations that lead to sustainable opportunities. They invest in helping others, demonstrating reliability, and maintaining integrity, often without immediate return. Over time, these relationships produce compounding benefits in mentorship, partnerships, referrals, and collaborative ventures that significantly accelerate professional and financial growth. Delayed gratification encourages resilience in the face of obstacles. Challenges are inevitable, and many give up when progress is slow or results are not immediate. Those who practice delayed gratification learn to endure difficulty, maintain focus, and persevere through setbacks. They understand that temporary discomfort is part of the process, not a signal to quit. This resilience strengthens problem-solving, adaptability, and mental toughness, allowing them to navigate complexity and uncertainty with confidence. By tolerating delayed results, they maintain momentum while others abandon efforts, ultimately achieving outcomes that require persistence and consistent application of strategic effort over time. Delayed gratification enhances financial literacy and responsible planning. Those who prioritize long-term gains learn to manage budgets, reduce unnecessary debt, and allocate resources wisely. They recognize the difference between consumption and investment, choosing to grow their financial base rather than erode it. This mindset promotes informed decision-making, careful risk assessment, and deliberate allocation of resources to high-return opportunities. Over time, consistent practice of delayed gratification transforms financial behavior, leading to wealth accumulation, security, and independence that outpaces peers who focus on immediate comfort, impulsive spending, or short-term pleasures that undermine long-term stability. Delayed gratification compounds exponentially when combined with other wealth-building principles like value creation, leverage, and disciplined action. Sacrificing temporary indulgences in favor of investment, skill development, and strategic planning multiplies both financial and personal growth. Small, consistent actions repeated over time create cumulative results that accelerate progress beyond what short-term thinking can achieve. Individuals who internally. This principle experience freedom, independence, and opportunities unavailable to those seeking immediate reward. By making deliberate choices today, delaying consumption, and prioritizing long-term benefit, they build a foundation for exponential impact, sustainable wealth, and enduring success that continues to grow over decades. Ownership thinking is a mindset that separates the financially free from those who remain dependent on circumstances. Most people operate as employees in life, waiting for permission, approval, or opportunity from external sources. They trade time for security and react to events rather than directing them. Ownership thinkers take full responsibility for outcomes, resources, and decisions, understanding that no one else is accountable for their results. They treat life and business as assets to manage strategically. This perspective shifts control from external forces to internal decisions, enabling proactive problem-solving, initiative, and long-term wealth creation through deliberate action and accountability. Ownership thinking requires seeing problems as opportunities rather than obstacles. Many individuals avoid responsibility, blaming systems, conditions, or other people for setbacks. Those who think like owners analyze situations, identify leverage points, and take corrective action. They focus on what can be influenced rather than lamenting what cannot. This mindset transforms challenges into growth engines, creating resilience and self-sufficiency by framing responsibility as empowerment rather than burden. Individuals can make decisions confidently, implement solutions strategically, and maximize results. Every setback becomes a chance to learn, adapt, and strengthen systems, which increases both personal capability and financial independence in the long term. Resource management is a hallmark of ownership thinking. Those who think like owners understand the value of every asset, time, money, energy, relationships, and knowledge. They allocate resources strategically, prioritizing high-return activities instead of reactive tasks. Unlike passive participants, owners measure opportunity cost and seek efficiency, ensuring every decision contributes to long-term growth. Ownership thinking encourages disciplined spending, reinvestment, and asset accumulation. Resources are treated as tools for future advantage rather than consumables for temporary satisfaction. By managing what they control effectively, individuals multiply outcomes, reduce waste, and build a foundation for sustainable wealth that is resilient to external disruptions and dependent on their own decisions. Decision-making under uncertainty is strengthened by ownership thinking. Many avoid responsibility because decisions are uncomfortable or outcomes are unpredictable. Owners understand that indecision is a risk in itself and that taking calculated action yields learning, clarity, and momentum. They analyze available data, consider impact, and act decisively while remaining adaptable. Ownership thinkers accept accountability for results, whether successful or requiring correction, and treat feedback as actionable intelligence. This approach builds confidence, speed, and competence over time. Decisions compound in impact, creating a cycle where informed choices increase capacity and influence, ultimately accelerating financial growth and professional authority while minimizing wasted effort. Ownership thinking emphasizes initiative over instruction. Instead of waiting for guidance, owners create plans, define goals, and implement strategies proactively. They do not rely on supervisors, systems, or trends to dictate action. This independence allows them to identify opportunities before others notice them and solve problems before they escalate. Taking initiative multiplies influence and demonstrates reliability and capability, which builds trust with stakeholders, clients, and partners. The mindset of acting first and responsibly transforms potential into tangible outcomes. Those who consistently exercise initiative gain a reputation for leadership and effectiveness, positioning themselves for higher rewards, greater responsibility, and scalable financial results over time. Accountability is central to ownership thinking. Many avoid responsibility because it exposes flaws or risks blame. Owners embrace accountability because it creates control and clarity. When individuals accept full responsibility for their actions and results, they remove excuses, eliminate reactive behavior, and focus on solutions. Accountability strengthens decision-making, execution, and relationship management. It fosters trust and reliability in business and personal interactions. Over time, this mindset creates a feedback loop. Consistent responsibility reinforces confidence, competence, and credibility, which in turn increases access to resources, opportunities, and partnerships, all of which are essential for building sustainable wealth and long-term influence. Ownership thinking transforms risk perception. Instead of fearing failure or instability, owners see calculated risk as a necessary component of growth. They analyze potential outcomes, prepare contingencies, and act with courage. Risk becomes a lever rather than a deterrent. Those who embrace ownership understand that avoiding all risk guarantees stagnation, while strategically managing risk produces scalable opportunity. By accepting responsibility for both gains and losses, they learn faster, adapt sooner, and build systems that protect and amplify results. Risk is reframed as a tool to see our eat value, enhance flexibility, and accelerate wealth accumulation when approached with careful planning and accountability. Ownership thinking encourages continuous improvement and self-investment. Individuals who operate with an owner's mindset regularly assess performance, identify inefficiencies, and implement refinements. They invest in knowledge, skill, and systems that multiply outcomes. Unlike those dependent on external instructions, owners take personal responsibility for growth. Continuous improvement compounds over time, increasing influence, capacity, and wealth. By prioritizing long-term gain over immediate convenience, ownership thinkers create durable advantage in competitive environments. Every lesson learned, system improved, or skill acquired contributes directly to future income potential, opportunity, and independence, building a self-reinforcing cycle of development that outpaces peers who lack initiative and personal accountability. Ownership thinking also shapes mindset toward opportunities. Those who think like owners do not wait for perfect conditions or permission. They create conditions that favor success. They actively identify gaps in the market, inefficiencies to correct, and needs to fulfill. Opportunities are seen as outcomes of proactive observation, preparation, and execution rather than random chance. This perspective reduces dependency, increases adaptability, and fosters innovation. By taking responsibility for results, owners expand their sphere of influence and create multiple pathways for success. Every action, investment, or solution is approached strategically to maximize long-term impact and leverage existing resources for scalable results. Ownership thinking redefines leadership and influence. People who internalize this mindset lead by example, manage resources wisely, and inspire action in others. They understand that. Authority is earned through responsibility, competence, and results rather than position alone. By consistently taking initiative, making strategic decisions, and maintaining accountability, they create environments where growth and productivity are amplified. Ownership thinkers build trust, loyalty, and cooperation, increasing their capacity to achieve larger goals collectively. This leadership extends to personal, financial, and professional spheres, multiplying outcomes and accelerating wealth creation while reinforcing a culture of responsibility, proactivity, and long-term vision across teams, partnerships, and networks.